Well, I'm here with Barry Wilkinson, cricket commentator extraordinaire, Barbados local as well. Gonna get some. You're not from Barbados.
That part is true. Cricket extraordinaire. Let's see.
Don't put yourself down. Cricket extraordinaire. We've just watched a bit of a game because it was washed out between England and Scotland. And I don't know about you, Barry, but I reckon if you were over there, you'd have an England side that maybe feels, maybe they would never admit it, but that they got out of something a little bit tricky. That would have been an interesting chase at least. And Scotland would be the one that would be going, damn it, you know what? I reckon we could have had them.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons is that Scotland had an approach. We're not scared of England anymore. The associates are not scared of the big name teams anymore because I think they feel that cricket on its day, anyone can play and be competitive once you stick to the basics. And the thing about Scotland, this Scotland team plays more together than the England team play together.
Yeah.
So they're a real team, and that's why the associates are beginning to emerge and give some of the big name players and big name teams some trouble. They're playing together every day, they know their games very well, and they're improving. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we saw today with Scotland and England.
I mean, I don't want to say this. I shouldn't say this. I don't want to offend. Just remember a couple of years back in Australia what they did to West Indies. So we know the quality of Scotland. They're not the only associate team in this tournament that are capable of doing that, and that's what makes this really interesting. When you look at a team like the Netherlands, for example.
The Netherlands, I remember last year in the T20 World Cup, the West Indies made 376 around there. The Netherlands got the score, took the game to super over, and beat the West Indies after making 376 runs. And one of the reasons I remember them saying, people might think, how did you manage to beat a team who made 376? And I remember their captain saying, we do this every day together. We practice every day together. Everyone knows their strengths, their weaknesses, and we play so much cricket together. And when I look at that West Indies team, yes, they had bigger names, but those players rarely play a lot of cricket together. So the team aspect of cricket is just so vital. And I think that's why the associates have been able to emerge, so to speak, and get better, begin to get more confident, and they just do not fear big teams anymore.
Well, the other thing about them, though, is and I do think people forget this if they don't sort of watch a lot of associate cricket. So much of what they play, there are no meaningless bilateral series even, and they play all these qualifying tournaments. They get points for various bilateral series. So a team like Scotland, almost every time they're playing for their lives. They're so used to that kind of cutthroat do or die cricket. How significant do you think that is now that we have a tournament like this, where all 20 teams are starting at the same level? Yeah. You don't have to basically get through a knockout stage to get through to play the big boys, if you like.
It's sort of like the FA Cup. You're going to get a team giving you a massive surprise and beating a Man City or beating an Arsenal here and there, and because you're on the same even keel, you're starting at the same level, and added to that, the pressure's not on you, is it? The pressure's on England. England is a team that's the defending champions. England is a team that have got the big name players. So therefore, those players feel a more sense of, no way we can let this team come and beat us. They're playing as the underdogs. They feel confident enough that, look, we have nothing to lose. Let's take it to them and see if we can push them to the limit. So I'm seeing this emerge more and more with these associate teams. Remember how Ireland, back in 2015, Ireland played the West Indies in the first game of the 2015 World Cup, and they also scored, I think the West Indies scored 300 runs. Ireland knocked it off, got the runs. And you're just seeing continually associate sides just being able to think through their cricket a bit more, strategize, practice at it, and just come out on top. And I'm so sorry that the rain fell on today's parade. I think we would have had a very competitive game. Who knows, England might have won, they might not have won, but at the end of the day, it's the competitiveness. Once you raise that level of competition, the associate teams will begin to get better and they will begin to feel much more comfortable.
mean, what we only really got to see, well, we did only get to see two batters out there in George Munsey and Michael Jones. What did you make of their performance? Because they also gave themselves a really good boost, by the way, because neither of them got out, even though George Munsey was caught on a no ball.
Yeah, I think that they're contrasting players. One left-hander, one a right. One kind of tall and thin, the other a little stocky. Munsey obviously is not as technically correct, in my opinion, as Michael Jones. That four he hit off of Jofra Archer was a textbook style, top-notch kind of shot. So he's obviously a textbook kind of player. So it kind of matches well with what Munsey's doing, because Munsey's going to hit across the line here and there and try and offset the bowlers. So I think they make a fantastic pair. They make a fantastic couple, if you want to say it.
Aww.
Because, they're like, someone is going to be technical, someone is going to bat the way that you should really bat, and then someone is going to try and ruffle the feathers of the bowlers. A great opening pair, and I think if they could continue like this, you never know. They have to play Australia pretty soon, but 1 point each. That's really good, because it means England are under pressure. If England want to qualify, they have to try and win these games that they have, and I'm really hoping that the rain stays away this week.
I've been saying all along that I think the rain may have a little trick to play and may become a character in its own right.
The thing about it is that the game is finished today, and outside is just absolutely lovely now, or even better. But there's rain for the second game, which is Australia-Oman. So what England would love is for that game as well to be washed out. So they will be on even keel for Saturday's match, which is going to be a real key contest now if that was to happen.
And then you've got a couple of other teams also on 1 point. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
So net run rate will come into play, and who knows, an associate team might sneak in.
It is absolutely incredible. Look, England. Let's talk about England for a second though, because we did get to see more of England, and it's interesting because Joss Buttler was uncharacteristically frosty with the media the day before. It was, which he's got every right to be, but it just seemed a bit odd that he would, unless I thought maybe he's just sick of talking about it and just wants to get out there and do it, and I can understand that. But it felt a bit nervy or something from England.
I think one of the problems is that England, defending champions in the tournament, they played poorly, albeit at the last World Cup, which is the 50 over World Cup. But the pressure is really on them, isn't it? I mean, they have to deliver. And if they don't deliver, a lot of questions will be asked as to, are these players really overrated, or do they really deserve the big billing that they've got? Then you've had Jofra Archer now coming back playing after not being playing for so long. People felt today that Chris Topley should have played. And Mark Wood, I'm surprised to see Mark Wood opening the bowling, because usually in T20s he doesn't open the bowling. So something seems to be awry about how England went about their work in this particular T20. It was not the clinical England as to how they actually go about their strategy for the T20s. And I don't know if they assessed the conditions well. I really thought Topley would have been a better option, given the conditions. The conditions, the game started late because of rain. I thought he would have been better with that left arm swing. But I think Joss Buttler is just feeling the pressure a little bit. England have not had the brightest of times in Test. They just lost to India. Like I said, they lost the World Cup. They lost here in the West Indies in January and December/January. So a little bit of pressure are on England to deliver, and they get harsher press than West Indies guys. I mean, come on. England players are under pressure from the press, even more so than the selectors and the fans.
Yeah.
So, I can understand why Joss Buttler might have felt like that. Plus, too, he's a dad for the third time. He probably won with his kids.
Okay, you can certainly understand that. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? We didn't, in a game where there wasn't actually a huge amount of cricket played, it's hard to say too much. But I guess there are going to be moments in this tournament where there are going to be truncated games. So you can't just go, well, it was shortened and it was blah, because that's the reality is that they've got to deal with whatever is in front
and it's not just in the West Indies. The same game today with Netherlands and Nepal was also rain truncated because of bad weather. And I think that it's just, we are in that season. Dallas, Miami, New York, West Indies, you're going to get a lot of rain in June, and even more so in July, which by then you'll be gone. But I'm just hoping that we can have a proper World Cup and it was not going to be spoiled by the bad weather. So that is something that I think that you can't have any control of. So just get out there and do the business when you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, they should just have it somewhere like England where it never rains.
Yeah, right.
Hey, it rained all the time in the last T20 World Cup in Australia.
It rains in England, but it's outside is always overcast. But you just manage to get the cricket in, do you?
Well, it can happen anywhere in the world. It does happen everywhere in the world. We hope it's not going to have too much of an impact, but it could just be a little bit of a leveler, I think, the rain, and just might tip things maybe against one of the big teams.
Yeah, the associates will get points, which is what the big teams don't want. So if the associates are going to get points because of washed up matches, it puts pressure on the Englands and the Australias and the other groups. It puts pressure on those big teams to actually win and perform when they have to play.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm still excited about it. The rain ain't getting me down.
Me too. We're going to have better weather tomorrow night and for the rest of the week in Barbados. I've talked to the big man upstairs. He's organising it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I had a taxi driver pray over me for 15 minutes last night, and he said that everything is going to be okay now. So
Nice.
God's on our side in the cricket in the West Indies. We'll see you soon. We'll get him back again because he's so great.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.